We're going to start by crossing our legs. You can do lotus or just crisscross applesauce like in school. And I'm just going slowly in circles, as wide of circles as my neck will allow me to go into. If this is uncomfortable, you could do half circles to the front and then switch and do half circles to the back. And then I'm switching around and going the other direction. Next, I'm going to be working on back extension, trunk extension going backwards. I've got a block underneath my back. If that's uncomfortable for you, you can use nothing at all, or a rolled towel like I've shown in the modification or variation. Next, I'm moving into happy baby. Grabbing my feet, doesn't really matter how you grab them, inside, outside, on the toes. If that's too much, you can grab your knees as I've shown in the knees to chest variation. Next, we're going to move into lumbar rotation or twisting of the spine. I have my arms wide in a T formation, and I'm bringing my right leg to try and touch my knee to the ground. It doesn't have to go right to the ground. You can use your left hand to help bring the right knee down if you want to. If that doesn't feel comfortable for you, I've shown the variation of sitting rotation in the picture above. Next, I'm moving into a cat and cow variation. On hands and knees, I'm going to arch my back and then let my belly button drop to the ground as much as I feel comfortable. A variation that might feel good for you is going down onto your elbows to do that. It might just feel like it gets a different area of the spine. Next, I'm going into child pose. Here I'm going into puppy pose, a fairly advanced pose where I'm trying to keep my bum high while I'm on my knees and trying to touch my chin or my chest to the ground. I've used a block in the variation to show how you can assist this movement. And if neither of these feel comfortable, you could try thread the needle, which I've shown in this next picture. Here I'm showing lion pose, bringing my wrists backwards, palms on the ground, to try and stretch out my forearms. You could also do this on hands and knees instead of sitting on your feet. Next, I'm moving into frog pose. This is a groin stretch. Again, it's fairly advanced. If that feels uncomfortable for you, you can do half circle as I've shown in the variation of the picture. The next pose I'm moving into is wide seated forward fold. My legs are straight and I'm leaning forward as much as I feel comfortable. If this is uncomfortable for you, you can adopt the butterfly pose shown in the variation in the picture. Here I'm keeping one leg straight and the other one bent as I do a side bend toward the left. You can be on your elbow, you can put your hand out, or you can do the variation in cross-legged that I've shown in the picture. Then I vary this position slightly and move into a hamstring stretch. You can use a belt here if that makes it easier for you to do. Again, I'm doing the side bend, now to the right. And again, if you choose to, you can do a seated variation of that side bend. Then moving into the hamstring position. Again, you can use a belt if that makes things easier for you. From here, I'm moving into a deep supported squat position. If you don't feel like you can relax in this pose, you can choose to use a yoga block or anything supported underneath your bum. There I'm showing the tallest block position. but you can choose any of the heights. Now I'm moving into a low lunge quad stretch. The pose that I'm in is fairly advanced, but I've shown a variation of the quad stretch that you can do with a belt. From here, I'm moving into pigeon pose. If this feels uncomfortable for you, you can use a block underneath the buttock of the bent leg, or you can do inverted pigeon, as shown in the picture. From here, I'm moving into the monkey, or the front split. I'm using a block underneath my front leg currently. You can also do the variation as I've shown in the picture, which is creating a hamstring stretch for the front leg. This pose generally works towards that front split. From here, I'm going to switch sides. So I'm going back to the low lunge quad stretch. Again, the variation there can be a belt, or you can stay up on your hand, as I've shown in the variation. Again, this time on the right side, moving into that pigeon pose. And again, you can use a block underneath your bum of the bent leg, or you can move into an inverted pigeon, as shown in the variation. And finally, moving back into monkey pose or front split on the right leg forward. And again, if you feel like this is not available to you, you can do the variation shown, which is a hamstring stretch that works towards the front split. And finally, you can move back into cross-legged to end your practice.